Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video on my CSGO guide series. Today we'll be covering one of the most important aspects of the game, grenades. Grenades are an extremely useful tool in competitive play and are considered to be what makes the difference in a great player and a mediocre player. However, just buying grenades and throwing them haphazardly every round will not result in your skill increasing. It will just hurt your team's economy and probably make you lose the game. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use grenades properly, and we will cover the basic fundamentals, functions, prices, and usage of each grenade. Remember, team damage is enabled in competitive play, so be very careful where you use your grenades because they can most definitely be counterproductive. After a certain period of time, roughly 15 seconds, the decoy grenade will self-detonate, inflicting around 5 points of damage to any player at point blank or within a narrow radius. If the player does not have any firearm equipped, the decoy grenade will mimic the user's original spawn weapon, the Glock 18 for terrorists, and P2000 or USPS for counter-terrorists. Flashbang is essentially composed of a pyrotechnic metal oxidant mix of magnesium or aluminum and an oxidizer such as potassium perchlorate. Unlike other grenades, players can hold two flashbangs at once for most games. In deleted scenes, players may even carry 3 at once. Only one flashbang can be purchased/obtained in classic casual mode of global offensive, while 2 can be obtained in classic competitive. However, players cannot acquire second ones if they had already filled up their inventory with 3 other grenades and a flashbang, since 4 grenades are the absolute maximum amount of grenades a player can carry. In all games, the flashbang explodes on a time fuse after being thrown. A bright flash of light will be released when the device explodes, blinding all players with a clear sight to it, including teammates, regardless if the option friendly fire is enabled or disabled, obscuring their entire screen with white for a short moment before fading out again. The HUD is also obstructed by the whiteness when blinded. In Counter-Strike Global Offensive, the fade-out process will also show a frozen after image of the player's last view before getting flashed. Note that it is possible to blind players when a flashbang explodes in a smoke. Players who are near the explosion but do not have a view of the flashbang or are at a very long distance away from the flashbang but still has a direct view to the explosion in Global Offensive will still be blinded, albeit for a very short moment. The explosion deals no damage and does not prevent the blinded players from performing any normal actions. After Counter-Strike Source, players affected by the flashbang will be also deafened by the sound of the explosion, only able to hear a ringing sound. The length of the fade-out varies depending on the angle the explosion from the player's crosshair and the distance of the explosion from the player. The maximum blinding effects are applied when the explosion happens right beside the player and within the player's view in a 16:9 aspect ratio, or roughly 53 degrees away from the crosshair in any direction. The effects of the flashbang is not affected by the player's monitor's aspect ratio. The following flashbang stats were The HE grenade is essentially a capsule filled with explosives that will detonate on a timed fuse after being thrown. After being thrown, the grenade detonates after a timed fuse expires, creating a small, loud explosion and dealing instantaneous damage to enemies in an area, which drops down as their distance to the grenade increases. In Counter-Strike, the explosion damage can penetrate through walls. This is removed in later games, and players will not be damaged if by a wall. The grenade explosion can also destroy air vents, windows, and doors in Global Offensive if they are caught in the vicinity of the explosion. Bots with HE grenades will sometimes throw them at walls or other obstructions, so players should be cautious when following friendly bots with grenades when friendly fire is enabled, especially in 1.6 and Condition 0. Prior to Global Offensive, if the player issued the command "Go, go, go," bots will switch to their firearm if they agree with that command. The HE grenade in deleted scenes deals higher damage than its multiplayer counterpart and can grab player/targets when they stand next to the explosion. In deleted scenes, NPCs that use the HE grenade will often be armed with their side. They appear almost the same as a normal NPC, armed with a pistol, except they will be defensive rather than aggressive. Furthermore, they seem to have an unlimited Incendiary grenades are grenades that release fire used for anti-personnel or anti-material purposes. Modern incendiary grenades often use thermite, which can burn through metals and is virtually impossible to extinguish after being released. In-game, the incendiary grenade is a CT exclusive grenade and the most expensive CT grenade at $600. It is useful both as a defensive and offensive tool. Defensively, the flames are excellent at temporarily preventing enemies from advancing to an important area, such as a bomb site, important pathways, or hostages, or preventing enemies from rushing the player with close-range weaponry. Offensively, the flames can be thrown into a defensive position that an enemy is hiding in, trapping the enemy in flames, forcing them to come out or take damage. When thrown, the incendiary grenade will explode and making contact with walkable surfaces that is 30 degrees or smaller from horizontal, deploying an area of flames capable of burning anybody that is in it. It will bounce off all other surfaces. Flying for too long will cause the grenade to explode mid-air, releasing nothing and damaging nobody. The flame deals a consistent 40 damage per second with 100% armor penetration to those in contact, including the user, their teammates, and hostages. The fire disappears after 7 seconds. Multiple flames overlapping each other will stack the damage. Despite being near impossible to extinguish in reality, it can be extinguished in-game by throwing a smoke grenade over it. The incendiary grenade will also not deploy inside smoke. The incendiary grenade also takes a notably longer time to switch to another weapon after throwing it. Molotov cocktails are a type of homemade incendiary weapon invented by Finns in World War II, its name being an insulting reference to former Soviet Foreign Minister Vyacheslav Molotov. Molotov cocktails are typically composed of a glass alcohol bottle, alcohol, or gasoline inside the bottle itself, and a lit rag for the ignition source of flammable liquid. It functions when it is shattered on a surface, releasing the contents within, and the lit rag would create flames upon contact with the liquid. In-game, the Molotov is a T-exclusive grenade, and the most expensive T grenade at $400. It is useful both as a defensive and offensive tool. Defensively, the flames are excellent at temporarily preventing enemies from advancing to an important area, such as a bomb site, important pathways, or the hostages, or preventing enemies from rushing the player with close-ranged weapons. Offensively, the flames can be thrown into a defensive position that an enemy is hiding in, trapping the enemy in flames, forcing them to come out or take damage. When thrown, the bottle would shatter upon hitting a walkable surface that is 30 degrees or smaller from horizontal, spreading the flammable liquid around and creating an area of flames capable of burning anybody that is in it. The bottle will not shatter and will bounce off all other surfaces. Flying for too long will cause the Molotov to explode mid-air, releasing nothing and damaging nobody. The flame deals a consistent 40 damage per second and individual hits of 8 damage, with 100% armor penetration to those in contact, including the user, their teammates, and hostages. The fire disappears after roughly 7 seconds, 7.03125 seconds to be exact. Multiple flames overlapping each other will stack the damage. The flames can be extinguished by a smoke grenade, and the flames will not deploy inside smoke. Alright, that concludes this video, guys. Thanks again for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. I hope this guide helped you. Next week, we'll be going into part 2, where I go more in depth about tactics of how to use each grenade and how they can better your game sense, gameplay, and overall make you a better player. See ya.